got out of the Navy and I worked for Sikorsky Helicopters as a helicopter mechanic. And then I worked for the U.S. Post Office as a letter carrier. And then I worked in radio and TV doing some work there. And then finally, I sat down with my wife and I said, you remember that time that we went to your chiropractor and we just started, talking about it. And all of a sudden I said, you know what, I'm going to start checking things out. And of course, geographically closest to me was life in Georgia. And I said, that's where I got to go. And I went ahead and applied. And at that time, there was a deadline where you needed to, in 1989, if you got in by 1990, you were grandfathered in and you didn't have to have all these prerequisites and all these things that they were, about to change. The law was going to change in Florida at the time, and I wanted to go practice in Florida. So I was able to get in 1989. I did my prereqs right there in Marietta, and then I started in January of 1990. I started Chiropractic College.
That's so awesome. Hey, I need to apologize because you started through the beginning of the story and I forgot to hit the recording button.
That's good. That's good.
So just a quick recap because everybody started that.
Don't have to let this down, Fred.
I know, man. I didn't take notes.
He's excited. That's all.
I was all fired up because we used to do this and Joe would handle that. And now it's my responsibility and I totally dogged on it. But it was a few minutes ago. So, obviously, you went to life, man. You came from Puerto Rico, went in the Navy. Your wife got into chiropractic. And then you said that, here's 10 words or less. Then all of a sudden, you're all fired up. And now you're in chiropractic school. So you really went into school. Was chiropractic more like a musculoskeletal impression? You didn't have an overall health impression? Or
Absolutely. I had no idea whatsoever. And I figured, you know what, it helped my wife. That would be something that I wanted to do. I always, it's interesting. We used to watch these TV programs of different doctors and different things. And I said, Yanni, one day I want to use my gifts. I'm a great communicator. I love people. I love, giving and serving and doing all these different things. Maybe this is a profession for me. I want to go check it out. I'm going to be real honest with you. I used to freak out seeing blood and stuff like that. So I knew that I was never going to be an allopathic doctor. And so chiropractic was just one of those things that I figured, you know what, let's give it a shot. Let's check it out. And after procrastinating for all these years, I decided to take a step and got into chiropractic college, chiropractic college.
Nice. So then you found the principal.
Absolutely.
In life, very principled school. Mm-hmm. So what was that like? Now you get in there and it's like, wow, man, I learned there's life for us, right? There's nothing bigger than life, right?
Absolutely. I started going to DE the first quarter I got into school in 1990. And currently I still attend DE as a platform speaker. So, I got the philosophy immediately. And I was very fortunate and blessed that Dr. Sid was there at the time. And I was able to just, get dipped into the philosophy. And then all of a sudden I had this different appreciation for chiropractic because I fell in love with the principle. I fell in love with the potential of people being able to be free and clear and have their body work to optimal potential and allow the innate intelligence to express at maximum potential. And I fell in love with that. And ever since that was it. I was just hooked. And so I went through school and got out of school and went back to Florida. And then, the shit started hitting the fan because I got to the point where nobody was practicing principal chiropractic when I went to Boynton Beach, Florida, which is where I was living at the time. And I was like, oh my God, I got so vested into the principle and I really want to help people. And I got in there and actually it was a blessing in disguise because that was basically the only principal chiropractor in my community. And that gave me the advantage to be able to start telling the story, getting out into my community, serving my community with the principle, and became very successful doing so. So it was a blessing in disguise at the time when I moved into Boynton Beach, Florida.
Nice. So how long did you practice?
I practiced for about 20 years. And then
same location?
Yep, same location for 20 years. And then one day out of the blue, I remember it was December, close to Christmas time, I get a phone call. And this phone call was, I thought it was a prank phone call. I'm outside by my pool, and I get this call, and I answer the call, and they go, hey, is this Dr. Cordero? And I'm like, yes, it is. He says, this is Dr. So-and-so from the Board of Trustees of Sherman College. We're looking for candidates to replace our president. And we've been watching you for a while, and we want to know if you're interested in applying for this position. Well, I went ahead and hung up because I thought that the guy was pulling my chain, at the time. And I was like, why would they call me out of the blue? I don't know this person that's calling me. And all of a sudden they're asking me. So I thought it was a joke. So I hung up. And then 2 minutes later, the guy calls back again. He goes, no, seriously.
You literally hung up on him.
Yeah, I did. And then the guy calls back and he goes, no, seriously, this is who I am. I'm one of the board members, and we've been following you. I mean, what do you mean you've been following me? And he goes, well, I've been speaking around the country and internationally about a year or two prior to that phone call. And I guess that they had gone to a seminar where I was speaking and they heard me. And then they went to another seminar where I was at speaking and they heard me again. And then I was in Lima, Peru speaking, and they were there again. The couple of the board members happened to be at this event. And so that's kind of where that came from. So it was true. They were watching me and they figured, why not? This guy, may have something to offer to Sherman College. Let's try something different. So, and let me just share something from a political perspective. A lot of the chiropractic colleges, and not talking bad about anybody, just giving you the facts. A lot of the presidents of chiropractic colleges have not practiced, or not been in successful chiropractic practices for an extended period of time. A lot of guys are just academics, and there's no problem with that. But at the time, I didn't know how to run academics. I had no experience whatsoever. I had a successful practice, and I knew how to run my practice to the max. But as far as running a big institution, I had no experience. So I was kind of baffled a little bit why they would ask me to do something like that, because I really didn't have the experience. Well, guess what? The board was a new board, and they were looking exactly for a successful chiropractor that can communicate the message chiropractic, that can be the face of the school, that can go out there and get, passionate about what we do in chiropractic and be able to then be the face of the school. So I ended up, being their choice. And this is a funny story. So I accepted the invitation. I applied for the job. There was 20 different chiropractors, business people that had applied for the position. And out of the 20, there was several interview processes, stuff like that. And so we get down to the interview process, and they get down to the 3 finalists. So I get a phone call, and they go, "Hey, Dr. Cordero, we just want to let you know that you became one of the 3 finalists." And so, I'm a man of faith. So I started praying, and I told my wife, I said, Debbie, tomorrow I want you to pray about this, and tomorrow let's get together and see if God has shared something with us. So the next day I just got this clear message. I mean, just clear as day. The message was, sell everything that you have, including your home, in the event that you get this position. So I tell my wife, and she goes, "You know what, Ed? I feel very peaceful about that. Let's go ahead and put our house for sale." So here I am. I'm in 3 finalists. I have no idea whether I'm getting this job or not getting this job. And I turn around and I call a realtor and I put my house for sale. And within 10 days, I get a phone call from the realtor and says, "Hey, by the way, one of the Marlins baseball players has a wife, and she's moving into your area, and she's looking for a home. And we found your home. How would you like to rent your home?" So I'm figuring, hey, it's going to take 2 or 3 months. By the time the process ends with the interviews, if I don't get the job, I pull the house off the market. If I get the job, then no big deal. So the realtor says, "Well, wait a second. They want your house. They saw it, and they want it in 10 days. So you got to get out of your house in 10 days.
Okay, let me interrupt something. I want to say 3 things. 1, you're my hero. Secondly, what a mind blower that you're in practice and you get a phone call to run a school.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
That is absolutely insane, because you have no consciousness of that, and then you get a phone call and here you are. Like, that is absolutely mind blowing.
And so I put my house for on the market, and these people rent my house. So within 10 days, I'm homeless. I got no place to live. I had to go get an apartment. So I go from a 4,000 square foot home to a 500 square foot apartment. So I would take one step and I was in the bathroom. I'd take another step, I was in the front door. And so here I am in this apartment with my wife. I don't have a job. So my family thinks I'm crazy. My wife's family, they know I'm crazy. And so for 3 months, we go through this process. And then I get a phone call November 12th. I remember this. November 12th, I get a phone call. And they go, "Hey, Dr. Cordero, this is so-and-so from the Board of Trustees. I just want to let you know that you've been selected as the 5th president of Sherman College." He said, "By the way, we need you here by January the 1st. So I already rented the house, so it was no big deal with the house. I had my practice. And I had a practice of 23 years, high volume practice. And I was a specialty practice because I'm Hispanic, so 98% of my people were Hispanic. So I can't just sell my practice to any gringo. And I have 6 weeks to be at Sherman. So I go ahead and I start praying again. I go, "God, you open up this door. I just going to have to help me through." And so I put an ad on Facebook, and these 2 Puerto Rican brothers called me up that graduated from life and say, "Hey, Dr. Cordero, we want to check out your practice. They looked at the practice. Within 2 weeks, I had sold my practice of 23 years. So you're talking about being ready at the right time. God just opened up the door. I was able to walk through the door. And here I am, January 1st. I'm in Spartanburg, South Carolina. I don't have a house. I don't have a business. And I'm ready to serve. So it's a cool story.
Wow. That's
What
awesome.
did you do, like sleep in the cafeteria for the first couple of weeks?
No, we actually found a house, immediately. So it was just really cool. It was definitely meant to be. And I got up to Spartanburg, and I was able to start taking over the presidency. And nobody will tell you this, but I have no reason not to tell you. I got there, and I had no guidance whatsoever. The board was a new board. The president had left. I had nobody to tell me what was going on with the school and what the situation was as far as where the school was. And we started with I realized I had 165 students, and I realized really quick after being in practice, like you guys can definitely understand, you can't run a successful business with 165 students, especially a school. So I started working really, really, really hard. And now it's been 3 years. I just completed my third year, starting my fourth year. And we're over 400 students right now in a short amount of time, and rocking and rolling, and definitely creating the space to at least double our enrollment within the next couple of years in the direction that we're going.
Well, that's so awesome, man. And number one, to have that spiritual faith, chiropractic is really, it's a spiritually based profession. It's a universal law, man, life force, universal intelligence and innate intelligence. And you live the principle. And that's what that was. You just lived the principle. You went in faith, you got the calling, and you followed the call.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, I tell the story wherever I travel. I tell the story, and people go, that's impossible. How can you do that? And, and I am a firm believer that God has greatness for us in all our lives. And sometimes you have to take that leap of faith. And taking that leap of faith is so difficult because God doesn't reveal to you what he has for you until you take the leap. And then once you take that jump and you start to fall through the abyss, all of a sudden now things start to happen, and then you move in the direction that you're supposed to be blessed with. So I'm like I said, I was just blessed, to have this opportunity. I was blessed to take the leap of faith. Now things for the past 3 years at Sherman College have been amazing. Hasn't been easy. I'm going to be really honest with you. It's been a challenge, and it's been an opportunity to change a culture that was there. Sherman College is a phenomenal school, and they've had phenomenal leaderships for years and years and years and years. But they got into a plateau, and then when they got to that plateau, all of a sudden they needed that leader. And it was just right timing, right place, right timing. And I was able to get in there and use my skills and use my connections and be able to create what we're doing right now. And like I said, it's been 3 years of hard work, and I wanted to share this with you guys. So I was kind of checking out some numbers the other day, and I'm basically on a plane every single weekend somewhere, because I'm one of those proactive type of presidents. I don't like to sit back and let people do stuff. I want to have my fingers on the pulse. If I'm going to create leaders, I need to know what the position is. How do I do it? What are the recruiters doing out there? All these different things I wanted to learn. So for the past 3 years, I've been on a plane basically every single weekend. So I think I have over 500,000 miles in about 2 years of flight time. And so I went to Google and I started to look, and I was curious, how many flight miles would it take to circumference the world if you were going to jump on a plane and nonstop go around the world? And it was 24,900 flight miles would be one time around the world. If you take that and divide it by 500,000 miles, I've gone around the world 20 times, bringing the message of Principal Chiropractic, bringing the message of what we have to offer at Sherman College, and it's just been amazing. It's been a great journey, and it's no stopping. I'm super passionate. I'm super excited. I'm more excited about chiropractic now than when I first started in chiropractic. And like I said, I've always just been very blessed to be, surrounded by great people, a great team. And as a leader, my responsibility is to prepare other leaders. So that's what we're doing at Sherman College, is preparing other leaders so this institution and organization and Principal Chiropractic can perpetuate and continue to move forward.
Well, that's so awesome. It's obvious with your passion. Sorry, Joe, I always cut you off.
No. I'm just in awe. You couldn't make a story like that up. I mean, as far as it was put in place for a reason, for sure. Mm-hmm. And you say that God puts things in front of you for a reason, and you have to take that leap of faith. I mean, Fred did it. I did it. Everybody that has that passion within them, they always have this commonality that they all took a leap of faith in a higher reasoning for what they're here on earth to do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that that's one of the things that a lot of people, are the barriers that stop a lot of people from becoming successful, is the fact that they get to that ridge, but they're afraid to jump. They're afraid to take that leap of faith. And, obviously I've knowing you two guys and knowing a lot of people that are very successful, everybody got to that ridge and jumped. And you know what? Whatever it is going to happen to happen. If for whatever reason it didn't work out, then you go to plan B. But so many people are just paralyzed by fear, and they're afraid to go ahead and take that step.
Well, and we always say, your purpose got to be greater than your fear. And really, that's it. When you look at your purpose in chiropractic, man, it is in your soul and in your spirit. So it's more fearful not to jump than it is to jump, because the fear of mediocrity and not fulfilling that life purpose has far more consequences than whatever it is that's when you jump into that, what you think is the abyss, but it's not, because God's got a landing right under there. We don't realize it's only like a 3-foot drop. You just can't see it.
Exactly.
It's like right there to catch you.
It's funny because a lot of people always say, "Oh, you're an overnight sensation. You're an overnight, a success." And I'm like, "Yeah, 24 years in the making." There's a lot of things that people don't know that that we used to just have challenges. Going through a marriage, and I have 2 children. I have right now my daughter is 30 years old, and she works with me at Sherman College. Just got married about 8 months ago to a chiropractor that just graduated recently from Life Chiropractic College. And my son is a worship pastor, married for 5 years now, 6 years, had our first grandbaby. And you know what? You have these responsibilities, and sometimes it's just, it's fearful to take that step. But, you got to do what you got to do. I felt that was my calling, that's what God wanted me to do, and I did it. And I'm so glad, because I love what I'm doing right now, and we've been able to create some amazing changes, and we're starting to create this momentum for the profession. See, I'm a little different than a lot of the other presidents. I love Sherman College. I work for Sherman College. I want my organization to succeed, but more importantly, I want the profession to continue to move forward. And right now, as I travel the world and speak at all the colleges that I get an opportunity to speak, chiropractic colleges, and to students and prospective students and practicing chiropractors, I realize that there's this plateau in our profession right now. And the plateau is there's no other new schools that are opening up in the United States. Right. And then we're all fighting for the same prospective students. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to do that. God put in my heart that, start looking someplace else. So I started going overseas. So I went into Puerto Rico. I went into Costa Rica. I went into China. I went into Spain. And I started going into different parts, trying to create a global, impact. And I realized that there's so much need for our profession outside of the United States, and that I wasn't going to sit there and fight with every single other college when there was plenty of prospective students that didn't know anything about chiropractic, and I was able to go and take advantage of that. So that's why I've been on the road for so long, bringing the message around the world and making a global impact. And because of that, now I would say a great percentage of our students are coming from Puerto Rico, they're coming from Costa Rica, they're coming from China, they're coming from Malaysia, from France, from Germany, because of the global impact of the footprint that we're trying to create. So I want the profession to continue to perpetuate, way beyond when you and I and Dr. Joe are around. And somebody's got to take the responsibility to do that. So.
Well, you look in the mirror, say, if it's not you, then who? And you have a humanity vision, and the big vision is why you're doing what you're doing. So, and you're a great principally based school. You're really leading up a great vision. So people could know more about it. Like when you say you're building the culture, cultures have core values. So what are the core values of Sherman that people can understand and align with, that makes all these listeners want to say, you know what, they need to go to Sherman?
Well, one of our core values is that we need to be obsessed with student success. So one of the things that I did, that I implemented a couple of years ago, is I hired somebody that definitely a lot more knowledgeable than I am. And they came and started with the executive team, and then went down to the administration team. And then we went to our staff, and we went to our faculty, and now we're going to our students and to our board. And so we want everybody to understand what our mission, what our vision is, and more importantly, that the students is the reason why we exist as a university or as a college. And so if I'm not obsessed with our students' success, to give them the quality education that they deserve, to be able not to only give them the chiropractic education, because all the chiropractic schools offer that. We wanted to give them some business acumen. We wanted to give them some business entrepreneurship. So we hired a team of people to come and work with our students, where now part of the curriculum is that they're getting a practice success program from quarter 1 through quarter 14, whatever level they're at. We actually have a team that comes in of coaches, and they work with each of our quarters, preparing these students so when they get out, they have no doubt that they can become successful. They can go out there and practice principal chiropractic, not only to make a difference in their communities or around the world, wherever they go, but they can go out there and create some great businesses so they can become successful, so they can then give back to the school, they can give back to their communities, they can tie to their churches, and they can do whatever they do as a successful principal, subluxation-based chiropractor. So we've really instilled that purpose of taking care of those students, providing them all the necessary tools, giving them some great, sharing some great wisdom and experience through our faculty. Like one of the faculty members that we just hired is Armin Rossi. And Armin Rossi has been around for a long time. And we just hired Armin because we knew that Armin brought years and years and years of experience, and not only with chiropractic and having a high volume successful practice for years, but also teaching for the ICPA. And so, he got to a point in his life that he says, Ed, I want to give back. I want to get out of practice, but I want to give back to the students. Is there an opportunity at Sherman College? And of course, I'm going to scoop up every opportunity that I have when I have experience and wisdom of people that have been in the trenches, in the chiropractic trenches for years and years and years, that have been successful. You don't find those individuals. So when somebody like that shows up, you make an opportunity and you allow our students to have that wisdom that they can work with. So our core values are ensuring that our students definitely have the success that they need, that they have the tools, that they understand the science, art, and the philosophy of chiropractic, that they understand that they locate, analyze, and correct the vertebral subluxation, and that they step back and, it's up to the body now to do what the body needs to do. Your job as a chiropractor is not to make that person better. Your job is to locate, analyze, and correct the vertebral subluxation and allow the innate intelligence of the body to express at maximum potential once the body's ready to do that. And I think that a lot of the failures with students in a lot of settings that I run into is that they want to be responsible for the response of the patient or the practice member when they give the adjustment. And you know what? That's not what we do as principal chiropractors. And then being able to communicate. So we're educating them in the communication process. So we want you to have the clarity and the certainty of locating, analyzing, correcting the vertebral subluxations. We want you to have the business acumen. We want you to have a why, that you're going to go out there and make a difference because you love this thing called chiropractic, and you want to be able to perpetuate the principles of chiropractic for forever and ever.
Well, one of the things, I belong to a group, Genius Network. It's some of the top entrepreneurs in the world. Joe Polish is really a great group. And, I just came back from that. And obviously I apply these principles of chiropractic. Really great question. He says, if you want to have a sustainable business or you want to have a world change, then you ask the question, what's not going to change in the next 25 years? And in chiropractic, it's the principle. Mm-hmm. Principle has never changed.
Never.
120 years. And it started with spinal correction. BJ had pre and post x-rays, and he would have medical doctors evaluate him. These are two things that are not going to change. Is the principle will never change, and we need to correct subluxations. And so, those things to me are the foundation, and it sounds like you're doing that. So naturally, I'd have to bug you a little bit to talk about getting, I don't know what techniques teach in spinal correction, but obviously, CBP is the most advanced research, and it's not about the technique, but it does make curve changes. And I don't know if you guys talk about traditional chiropractic as a segmental approach, and spinal correction deals with curves. So I don't know if that's something you deal with, but I would like to talk to you about that. I know I'm coming out to the school to speak. I would like to talk to you about that and how you might want to look at that and being involved in your school. So,
Absolutely. You wouldn't be coming to the school if I wasn't interested in being able to have a conversation with you about that. The more tools that we can give our students, the more opportunities that they're going to be able to get out there and become successful. So we definitely, the history of Sherman has been upper cervical for years and years and years and years. It's just been, that's what the school was founded on. Those are the principles upon what the school was founded on. But you know what? We have to understand that if we understand the philosophy and we know what to do, and we have a technique or several techniques that we're going to be able to put the money on, then we know that our students are going to become successful. So I'm never going to turn down an opportunity for somebody as successful as you are and Dr. Joe, to be able to come and share with our students and be able to open their minds to different options that we know for a fact are going to work in chiropractic. So, well,
the biggest thing too that I think that a lot of people don't understand about what chiropractic biophysics is too is that fact is that it started off 100% upper cervical. I mean, you know that, but you know, some of the young doctors, they don't know that our primary goal is the upper cervical spine. I mean, you know, I may make X-ray software for analyzing X-rays, and you'd be so surprised that people have never shot an ASIUM X-ray, Vertex. They've never done any of the upper cervical analysis unless they've went to a Life or Sherman or a Palmer. They don't even know what those X-rays are. Right. I could say I literally in my town here, none of the chiropractors around this whole area, they would never even know how to analyze an ASIUM X-ray. They've never been exposed to it, and it's not that they're bad people; they were just never exposed to it.
Exactly. Well, and that's the problem that we're finding, Dr. Joe, is the fact that, so let's say you're a brand new student and Fred is a brand new student. So you decide to go to a school geographically in your area and without being able to check out really what you're getting for your money. So right. you're paying $100,000 to go to X school, and Fred is paying $100,000 to go to Sherman, and guess what? The education is completely different because they're not teaching those fundamental principles. They're not teaching the upper cervical area. They're not teaching these specific techniques. And so what's happening now is that you graduate, okay, then you spend the money and you have no idea of what chiropractic was all about. And so we need to move forward in our profession. We need to go back in history and see what on the shoulders that we stand upon. And all these chiropractors that have gone before us, we have to really kind of appreciate that and see. So Sherman has always been focused on teaching the principles, teaching the upper cervical techniques. And now, of course, we want to start creating a little bit more options for our students. And so we definitely have some techniques that are going to be very valuable for them to be able to use. And like I said, I have no challenges or no problem in bringing people that are successful that are going to be able to share some techniques that are going to help our students to be that much better and that much more successful.
Yeah, I mean, matter of fact, our main upper cervical instructor is a Sherman grad. Dr. Pete Lope is a Sherman grad. Sure. And he teaches our upper cervical class. I was talking to him last night. And, the main passion that drives him, I was talking to him, I'm like, Pete, with your rheumatoid arthritis, it's hard for you to get around and do these things. He goes, Joe, if it's not me, who? Right. Who can do some of who actually had these miracles happen, in practice? And that's one thing that if you're a student listening out there, a lot of times new students, they don't realize that 9 out of 10 miracle stories in chiropractic, they're all upper cervical stories that you hear. In our realm, it was done with working with coma patients, coming out of comas, all upper cervical work. So unfortunately, at some of the other schools, I hate to say it, not that you can't graduate a great chiropractor from those schools, aka Fred, you went to a different school. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, Don went to Western States, and he had to go that extra mile where when I went to Life, we were inundated with philosophy. I thought everybody got this.
Everybody got it.
When I graduated, I'm like, what do you mean? You went to Texas Chiropractic College. You didn't know the body heals itself? And it's like they come out to back pain doctors, and it's not because they're bad people. They just don't know. They were never exposed to it. So if you're a young student out there listening to this, I have to say that you want to study the upper cervical spine because it's the most important area of the body. Obviously, it's not the only thing, but that's where CBP grew out of, and that's where we always first look. And as a young student, a lot of them, they just think that we're only about fixing the sagittal plane curves or whatnot. And, we're an upper cervical technique that just has full spine rehab is the way I like to say it.
Right. Got it.
Well, man, you've done a phenomenal job. I mean, to literally triple the size of the school, you take those same principles and that same drive, that it's that purpose and principle that gets you through the hard spots, and that determination that nobody can even understand. And you probably look at how much you've developed. You look at building a practice, probably feels like romper room now compared to building a school. It's like a practice. My God, I could do that in 3 weeks.
Right. But you know what the funny part, this is where the political part comes into place. In your practice, you want to paint the wall, you just hire someone and you paint the wall. In our institution, or a lot of the institutions, there's a lot of just political red tape, and you want to paint the wall, it takes you 3 weeks and 3 committees to be able to get it done. So sometimes it's a little frustrating because you want things to happen at a certain pace, but unfortunately the culture of the school or that organization is it has to be done this way. But you know what? You just put that aside and you continue to focus. And what you do is you realize what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. And then so what I do is I take the weaknesses that I know that have very little experience, and I put it upon my team members that have the experience, that have the knowledge, and I allow them to do that responsibility while I'm handling the things that I'm good at. And all of a sudden we divide and conquer. I just hired a new executive vice president about 2 years ago, Dr. Neil Cohen out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And, so what was great about bringing Dr. Neil is he's an old DE guy, and he comes in and we're very like-minded, and that's what we do. We divide and conquer. Dr. Cohen, these are the places that you're going to run off to. These are the places that I'm going to run off to. When I'm traveling, you're at the school. When you're traveling, I'm at the school. And now you built this team around you that's going to allow you to continue to become successful. So we have all the tools that are necessary. We have the people that want to be successful at the school and want to be able to pour into these students. We have students that are coming in because they want a small school. And when I say a small school, you take, like, for example, Life College, and they may have maybe about 1,500 students in their school. And most of the chiropractic colleges are between 200 to 1,500. So the number varies depending on the different schools. But some people want big, chiropractic college, then you need to go to a school like Life. If you want to come to a smaller school when you're going to have more individualized attention and individualized teaching, then a school like Sherman College would definitely be a place for you. So Sherman College is not for everybody. And that's what I tell my prospective students. Listen, if you want to party and you want to have a great time and you want a big city, Spartanburg, South Carolina is not the place for you. But if you want to come in here and focus and you want to be able to learn your craft and you want to have the certainty that when you graduate from here, you have all the necessary tools, then this is the place for you to be. And so all of a sudden now we went from begging for prospective students to now saying, hey, this is what we have to offer. This is what we're good at. This is what we're not good at. And you know what? Now is your turn to make the decision. And all of a sudden we've tripled our enrollment because people want to be able to come and learn from masters. And right now I can tell you that my chiropractic staff, I would say about 90% of them have practices. So they're coming and teaching from a perspective of being in practice day to day, not somebody that graduated 50 years ago and is trying to teach because they couldn't make it in practice. The majority of our faculty have practices right now. They do fantastic. And then they come and they give to the students. So we're super stoked. Yeah, we're super stoked about, the opportunities that we have. And, I see chiropractic moving in a phenomenal direction right now. As I travel the world and I look for opportunities, there's thousands of opportunities out there for chiropractic. We just need to bring this message, and we need to be bolder in bringing this message. We need to stand firm in what we believe in the principles of chiropractic, because when you speak with truth, what else do you need? And so people don't get the truth, and they may think you're crazy the first time, and then they kind of think, well, maybe this guy's not that crazy, and then next thing you know, you're a genius. So as long as we stand in principle and truth, all of a sudden we get an opportunity to perpetuate this profession and to be able to guard the sacred trust. So one of the things that I always share with places that give me an opportunity to speak is that Sherman College is protecting the sacred trust. Not too many schools are doing that. We're so excited for the responsibility that we have upon our shoulders, and we want to make sure and ensure that our students are getting that experience and knowledge and being able to get out there and make a difference in this world.
Well, it's obvious. The principle just pours out of you. It's who you are. Like when you look at all the things you're saying and your energy and your passion and your purpose comes forth, it's like you are the principle. And that's why you're able to do that, and that's the one thing, if there's anything we could impart, you look at a lot of the old school chiropractors, man, we were raised in DE, and the philosophy was so strong.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's who we are. And it's so obvious. And I have massive, massive respect for just the energy that comes out of you. So you took this school, you basically tripled the size of the school. I mean, you have great leaders in there. Now, where do you see, obviously, that's where you are today. What's your vision for the future? What are your plans now?
Well, right now we're working with Costa Rica and Puerto Rico. I've signed some agreements with several universities out there. I have 3 universities in Puerto Rico and I have a university in Costa Rica that we're working very closely. And one of the things that I want to do is I want to expand Sherman. I go to a church that has 17 locations here in South Carolina. And you know what? You don't need to reinvent the wheel. We have our main hub, which is Spartanburg, South Carolina. Why not go into Puerto Rico? Why not go into Costa Rica and create opportunities for the locals not to have to come to the United States? But why don't we go there and open up an opportunity where we can have a Sherman Puerto Rico or Sherman Costa Rica and create chiropractors that are going to stay in Puerto Rico, stay in Costa Rica, maybe go to Central America, Latin America, and go and be able to, to bring the principles to their countries. So right now we're in the process of negotiating and working with Costa Rica and Puerto Rico, how we can eventually create a Sherman branch. So that way we can have people there. What's great with technology now, Fred and Joe, is that we can actually use a lot of the faculty members that we have right now and do some type of teleconference or do some type of, platform where we can actually teach. So if I have like the Dr. Bill Decken, which is our top guy in philosophy, if I can have Bill Decken teach a class from Spartanburg and teach it in Puerto Rico and Costa Rica at the same time, they're getting the benefits of the master, of what's beautiful about the faculty that we have at Sherman College. So we're creating those opportunities right now. Within the next couple of years, I hope to be in Costa Rica and hope to be in Puerto Rico and start to create just more awareness and more of a footprint of what we stand for on a global impact. We have a school in China that we've been working with, and it's great to be able to go to 1.2 billion people and have an opportunity to share chiropractic. But that's a little bit further down the road. Right now, immediately, if I can get into Puerto Rico and Costa Rica within the next, let's say, 5 years, I think that that's going to be huge for us. Remember, we've been in existence for 41 years. And in 41 years, we've been at 5 states. That's it. New York, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, North Carolina, and some other states. Those are the 5 states that we've ever been in the history of Sherman College. Now I hired 4 recruiters, domestic recruiters. We're all over the United States. And now we're in Costa Rica, we're in Puerto Rico, we're in China, and creating that global impact. So I'm going to continue to push for that global impact so we can bring principal chiropractic around the world and just continue to make that difference, because it's so important that when my granddaughter gets to 22, 23 years old and she decides to go to a principal chiropractic college, that there's one actually that she can go to. And so we're going to continue to push and move forward and continue to bring these principles on a global level.
That's so awesome. Love that humanity vision. And people talk about humanity, and then there's people that are actually doing it.
Right.
So, to put that into action, I'm just impressed to the point where, when I speak in your college next month, if you like our message, which I'm sure you will, hey, I would like to help you on that. I mean, I definitely have a humanity vision. If there's any way that I can help or, go to any place or, I would like to help your vision. I know you need great leaders and we would do whatever we can.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Fred and Dr. Joe. You know what? It's the only way that we're going to make a difference. And like I said, one of the things that I've been trying to do, and I've just been very blessed at this, is I'm trying to create a lot of bridges as well. It's kind of like a dysfunctional family. You have all, not that I know about the Italians, but I do. Yeah. You have all these dysfunctional people in your family, and you sit down to dinner, and nobody gets along with anybody. But you know what? Then you love each other because you're family. And I think that in our profession, that's what's happening. We have all these principal groups, and you have all these principal organizations around the world. And so what's happening is, well, my group is better than your group. But no, but my school is better than your school. You know what? We're all cousins. We're all relatives. We really are all connected somehow. And it's finding a link to be able to allow that. And I've been very fortunate at being a bridge connector. For an example, and I'm not going to mention names, but you have one principal organization here and one over here. And so I happen to know both people on both ends, and they invite me to come speak. And next thing you know, now we're creating these bridges where, hey, we're like-minded. We really want the same thing. Why don't we get together on the same platform and we try to figure out what we need to do together to make a difference for Principal Chiropractic? Forget about the ego. Check the ego out of the door. What can we do different? And let's do it together. So, Principal Chiropractic continues to perpetuate. And I've been very, very, very fortunate to be able to be in a position that where I'm invited to go to speak, I'm always trying to create some bridges and being able to create a team, of leaders that we want to go out there, and we all have the same goal, is making a difference for humanity. We want to serve God with our gifts and our talents. We want to be able to use chiropractic as that platform. Why not work together and be more impactful instead of each other pulling in two different directions?
Nice. Great vision. Hey, the way to do it is through unity. Like you said, it's a bunch of dysfunctional brothers and sisters and cousins and nephews. But, it's such a great metaphor when we all sit down at the table and we break bread together. It's almost like everything that's unimportant, which is everybody's ego, gets left behind. We don't all have to agree on the same thing, but we are all in the same family.
Absolutely.
And that, that is obviously, and everybody knows that that's been the dissension, if you want to call it, of chiropractic is, the thing that's happening within our own profession. So, yeah, what a great bridge and what a great thing you're doing. I would love to have you, based on your travel schedule, to have you at an elite seminar. And I would like to promote your school and our organization. And we can talk about that in the future, too. More people need to know about what you're doing. Absolutely. And, I also like that thing that you said. You went from begging for students to kind of screening them.
Yeah, right. It's kind of like how you accept new patients in your office, right, Fred? You might not be fit for this office.
The application system.
Yeah, the patient application.
Right. Well, it's and we just want to continue to create great chiropractors. And you know what? A lot of students don't know what I'll share a real quick message with you. So back in 1895, most of the people that went to chiropractic school was people that went through miracles. So Joe, you went through a miracle yourself, or somebody in your family, or somebody that was really close to you. Through chiropractic, they went through these miracles. And so therefore, that motivated them to want to become doctors of chiropractic. Today, students come to school because they want the title doctor, because they want to be able to make money. They have no reason whatsoever. Most of them haven't even been adjusted chiropractically. And so how can you serve a profession that you've never had any experience whatsoever, or anybody in your family for that matter? Now, I'm not saying that they don't make great chiropractors. It's just that their motivation is different. So one of the things that we try to do is we have these programs called Showcase Sherman, and those are prospective programs. We have 4 times a year that we do prior to each quarter. And so we travel the world inviting students that really want to make a difference with their lives, but more importantly, they've had some type of, experience and success through chiropractic, because it really kind of, it's not a great thing for you to come to chiropractic school and never been adjusted. I just don't get that. So we're really being careful, but at the same time, creating opportunities to create leaders that are going to graduate from this institution and be the future leaders of our profession. And so we're really excited that we have the opportunity to do that and to serve at that capacity. And I want to invite both of you guys and anybody listening. Our biggest event that we have every year is our Lyceum. And our Lyceum, we still do it like the Palmer Days. We have this big tent that sits 600 or 700 people, and we have most of our speakers out there at the tent and on the property at Sherman College. And we do that every first weekend of May. This time around, it's going to be the 28th through the 30th of April. And it's going to be right at Sherman College. It's an amazing event. We get 600 to 700 people that show up. We have about 30 to 35 people presenting, all over the weekend. So it's a great opportunity for students, and it's a great opportunity for chiropractors to come get their CE and just be able to fellowship with the most successful chiropractors. And I want to invite you guys possibly for next year to come and present at Lyceum. It's a great opportunity because we do philosophy, we do science, we do art, we do techniques, and that would be a great opportunity for you guys to come and share with our people at Sherman College.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be an honor. And, you said a really great thing, and I've heard this before. It's so different because students are coming into chiropractic because they hear it's great business, or they're coming in for the income, or they're coming in for all those other reasons. when you're right, the old school people came in because they were organ miracles.
Yes.
They weren't back pain miracles, man. They were the person that was having miscarriages or the person with cancer. Or, you know, they were healing miracles. That is the principle of chiropractic. So your vision to take these people that are coming in just for whatever reason and be able to transform them into a great leader.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and to be able to provide that the way you are with instructors that are teachers. I mean, that just that your application and what you've done and what you are doing is truly admirable. So
thank you. I
want to hand that to you. I'm so glad you're with us tonight. Any final thoughts you would like to talk about, Dr.
I think the most important thing that I would like to share is the fact that, like I said, we have a lot of work to do. And, you know, it takes all of us to be able to put our little portion that we can to make this, you know, this profession to continue, to perpetuate and to become, you know, not only recognized, but, you know, there's opportunities that are out there that we're not even, you know, approaching. We're not even touching. We're so focused on our day-to-day operations that we forget that there's a future generation that knows nothing about chiropractic, and that we can influence them through our experience and through our wisdom and through our mentorship to allow them an opportunity to come to a great profession. So if you're considering sending somebody to a chiropractic school, have them check out Sherman. Like I said, we have the Showcase Sherman. It's 4 times a year. You can go to www.sherman.edu, and all the information is there. The weekends that we're available for prospective students. One of the things that we do is we fly the students out. We put them up at a hotel. We feed them for the weekend. We do this amazing weekend where we do leadership training. They get a chance to sit in a classroom, talk to the fellow students, talk to anybody basically about what's happening at Sherman College. So that's a great opportunity. So if you're thinking of going to a chiropractic college, check us out. Give us the opportunity to be able to do that. And I would be honored and blessed to be able to speak at any event that anybody thinks that they may want to invite me to come and participate. The more people that listen to the message, the more opportunities we're going to have to continue to perpetuate this amazing profession that we're just so blessed to be able to be part of.
Cool, right on. And I'm going to send you the dates. We have a seminar in Chicago in October. I'll send you those dates, and if you have those available, I would love for you to come and expose yourself to our group. And really, and all the doctors listening, if this message resonates, then look into Sherman, because you know your patients, you know, when you have a principled practice, your patients are going to become chiropractors.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so definitely look into Sherman.
Or your staff, apparently.
Or your staff. And your staff. Yeah.
Craig just had a seminar, and how many people, their staff members, applied to chiropractic college when they came
back from a boot camp, and the week after, right? He lost 2 staff members to chiropractic school. That's the way it should be. So any final thoughts, Joe?
No, I think, it was an honor to meet you. I think you're doing fantastic things for the school, and it's obvious in the numbers. And I'm just we're blessed to have you on this and spreading the word. And I think that it's going to be great to get to know you and moving the college forward like this.
Thank you.
Anything we can do to help out, you know, it would be a great honor.
Well, thank you for taking your time with us, Dr. Ed. You know, it's been once again just mind-blowing to hear what you have. So to say it's refreshing, it really is an understatement.
It's a blessing and a pleasure.
What's that?
A blessing and a pleasure, you said.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, I'm looking forward to supporting the college, being more involved. I actually have felt this drive. You know, I saw you at New Beginnings. I haven't been in New Beginnings as much. But there was a couple of years ago, I felt this pull that I need to be supporting Sherman. And I felt this pull for a couple of years, but we get off on all our stuff. And it's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on here. Number 1, to promote Sherman, and number 2, to really begin a relationship with you, because I think we can help out what your vision is. And I want to participate in that. So
thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Fred and Dr. Joe. I hope you guys have a good night, and God bless.
Yeah, so hang on one sec. All right, guys, thanks. And we got more things coming up in the future. Stay on these podcasts.